get go.
Just want to start today with a trigger warning disclaimer. This podcast contains descriptions of death and drowning. Hi, I'm Katie Carpenter.
I'm Terry Kovanitz.
We apologize for any and all mistakes today as we begin this episode of Titanic Transcripts.
Mr. Cottam, you've been sworn?
Yes, sir.
You testified in New York?
Yes, sir.
You live in England?
Yes, sir.
You were the wireless operator on the Carpathia at the time the CQD distress call was received from the Titanic?
Yes, sir.
And you received that call?
Yes, sir.
And other messages from the Titanic before she sank?
I did, sir.
About how many other messages?
About 4, as far as I can remember.
Can you recall the contents?
I cannot remember the exact purpose of those messages, sir.
Mr. Cottam, do you recall the substance of the first message?
Yes, sir.
Just indicate what it was.
Come at once. We have struck a berg. It is a CQD. That was the first message.
And can you fix the hour when it was received?
About 11:20, sir, New York time.
And what was the ship's time? Do you remember, or Greenwich time?
I did not look.
When that message came, you had not retired for the night?
No, sir.
But you were just about to retire?
Yes, sir.
And you had taken off your coat?
Yes, sir.
But kept a telephone on your head?
Yes, sir.
And as I understood you to say in New York, by accident merely, you caught this CQD distress call from the Titanic?
Yes, sir.
And you were merely waiting and had kept the instrument on your head only in order that you might close some work that you had been doing during the evening or afternoon with the Californian?
No, sir. I was going to confirm a time rush message that I had communicated with the Parisian during the afternoon.
You were simply awaiting confirmation of a message you had sent?
Yes, sir.
And while waiting for that, this CQD call from the Titanic came?
Well, not just then, sir. I went up to the bridge in the meantime. Between waiting for the confirmation from the Parisian and hearing the CQD, I went up to the bridge to report the day's communications.
And did you have your coat off when you went up there?
No, sir. I had put my coat on again.
And you reported the confirmation of the Parisian's message?
No, not the confirmation, just the communications of the day.
To whom?
The officer on watch on the bridge.
And who was it?
Mr. Bissett, the second officer.
He did not survive, did he?
Yes, he's on the Carpathia.
Oh, yes. Murdoch was the officer on watch that night, was he not?
No, Dean. Murdoch was on the Titanic.
Oh, pardon me. You reported this information to the officer you have named?
Yes.
And then you returned to your room?
Yes.
And then you adjusted your telephone to your head and laid off your coat and prepared to retire for the night?
Yes.
And then this call came, and what was your reply?
I confirmed it, sir, by asking him whether I should go to the bridge and ask the captain to turn around immediately, and he said yes.
And did you do so?
Yes, sir.
What was the next communication you received from the Titanic?
I confirmed our position next.
And did you get the Titanic?
Yes, sir. The Titanic sent his position at the first communication.
The first message, the CQD?
Yes, sir.
You gave him your position?
Yes, sir.
And how did you get it? From the captain or from the officer?
From the captain.
Okay, what next occurred? There were only 4 messages there, you say?
I stood by the Titanic and gave him assistance in reading the other ships around about. He could not read the signals because of escaping steam.
And you assisted?
I assisted in the communication.
With other ships?
Yes, sir.
Did you assist him in communication with the Frankfurt?
No, sir.
Did you have any communication with the Frankfurt?
No, sir.
Did you assist him in communication with the Olympic?
Yes.
And with the Baltic?
Yes, sir.
Did you have any communication with the Mount Temple?
I had a communication with the Mount Temple about 10:30. I just gave him a good night.
That night?
Yes.
Before the accident occurred?
Yes.
Did you know the position of the Mount Temple?
No, sir.
How did you happen to get in communication with him?
As I say, I called the Parisian and I did not get a reply, and the Mount Temple gave me good night as soon as I called the Parisian.
Have you any information Or did you get any information at 10:30 that night as to the location of the Mount Temple?
No, sir. I do not remember.
Did you get any communication from Mount Temple regarding proximity to ice?
No, I do not remember.
Did any ships with which you were in touch around 10:30 on that Sunday evening say anything to you about ice?
I do not remember anything about ice. I do in the afternoon. I do in the afternoon. I heard the Parisian and one of the other ships talking about ice.
And what other one?
I do not know whether it was a Californian or not.
Did you get any message from the Californian advising ships within the radius of that information that there was ice at certain places in the North Atlantic?
No, sir.
Did you get any telegram from the America about ice, or intercept any telegram about it?
No, sir. The America was a long way ahead.
Now, how do you know?
Because she left about the same time as we did. I remember she got out of touch very quickly.
She left Southampton about the same time you did?
No, sir. New York, I think.
Okay. She left New York and was going...
Bound east, I think, from what I can remember. I did not know. I know I could not establish communication because she was too far off.
And you did not have any communication at all with the America?
No, sir. I do not remember having communication with her.
Then the only ship you did have communications with were the Californian?
Yes.
The Parisian?
Yes.
The Olympic?
Not until Monday morning.
Then cut out the Olympic. The Mount Temple?
Yes.
Any other? I think I mentioned the Baltic.
Well, there were quite a number, but I cannot remember the names of the ships. There were about 7 or 8, as far as I can remember. The United States, for one. The Helig Olav, I think, if I remember it right.
When did you have the Helig Olav?
Sometime in the Sunday afternoon, directly after lunch, if I remember.
And where were they? Could you tell?
No, sir.
From the strength or from the impact or in any other way, are you able to tell anything about your proximity to a ship?
To another ship?
Yes.
Provided that I know what system he's fitted with and what power his plant is and the time of day, I can tell roughly how far off he is, 150 or 200 or up to 300 miles off.
And you heard Bride, the Titanic's operator, testify in New York, did you not?
Yes, I heard most of him.
After he was rescued and came aboard the Carpathia, he relieved you, as I understand, for a while and helped you a little in your work?
Yes.
Notwithstanding his feet were injured and his back was injured. You were very weary and tired and fell asleep there in the performance of your duty, did you not?
Yes, sir.
And Bride took it up and helped you?
Yes, sir.
Did you hear Mr. Bride say that the strength of the call or the message... Am I stating that correctly, Mr. Marconi?
Yes.
Did you hear Mr. Bride that the strength of the call or the message that night impressed him with the fact that the ship from which that message came was nearer to him than the Carpathia?
I remember him saying that.
Is there any way by which an operator can tell the proximity of a ship or coast station by reason of the impact, the strength of the impact?
Not after dark, sir.
Is there in the daytime?
To a certain extent there is, provided you know what system he's fitted with.
Suppose you do not know anything about it and you just get the impact.
Then you cannot tell.
Oh, you cannot tell then?
No.
The Mount Temple was equipped with wireless, of course.
Yes.
And you got a message from it, a good night message, about 10:30 Sunday evening?
Yes.
How long was Bride on duty on the Carpathia after the Titanic went down?
He took the telephones occasionally. He took short watch occasionally on the way to New York.
Did you yourself receive a wireless from the Chester?
I received more than one.
From the Chester?
Yes, sir.
During Monday?
I do not know whether it was Monday or Tuesday. I cannot remember that. I cannot remember anything about the days at all, really.
What did the Chester ask for, if you remember?
It was asking for a list of the passengers and crew.
And what did you say in reply?
I delivered the message to the captain, of course.
Oh, what did the captain say?
He replied sometime afterwards.
Replied with the list?
No, sir, not with the list. I think the purpose of the message was to the effect that he had already given the crew and the first and second passengers to shore, and he had only the third-class passengers to go.
Do you mean he had sent these names ashore?
Yes.
In answer to the inquiry?
Yes.
That he only had the third-class passengers' names yet to send off?
Yes, he said he could have them if he liked.
You did not tell the captain this message was from the President of the United States?
I did not know who it was from. It was not signed. That is, it was signed Commander.
Oh, you did not know whom it was from, and you did not tell him who it was from?
It was signed at the bottom by the commander of the Chester. Decker, I think, was the name of the bottom.
Did you send off in reply to that the list of the third-class passengers?
Not immediately.
When did you?
Sometime afterwards, perhaps an hour, a couple hours. I did not send them at all. Bride sent them.
Oh, you did not send them?
No, I did not send them.
Bride sent them.
Bride sent them, yes.
Well, how did you pass your time on the way from the scene of this calamity to New York? Did you rest most of the time?
How did I pass my time?
Did you rest or work?
Well, it was hard work all the way.
You did not get much sleep?
No.
What did the work consist of?
It was all telegraph work.
In receiving messages frequently?
Yes.
Did you get any messages from the Salem?
I never had the Salem.
Did this heavy work continue right up to the time of your arrival in New York?
Yes, right up to docking.
Were you in communication with the office of your company in New York the day of the landing?
No, sir.
Or before that time?
No, sir.
Did you receive any radiograms or wireless messages from Mr. Marconi?
I did not.
Or from anyone signing his name?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you receive any wireless communications from Mr. Sammis?
No, sir, I did not.
Or from anyone signing his name?
No.
Or from Mr. Bottomley?
No, sir.
Where were you at 8:12 p.m. the night the Carpathia landed in New York?
I do not know, sir. I might have been ashore. I do not know what time she docked. I don't remember what time she docked.
Suppose she docked at 9:40.
That I should be aboard the ship.
Were you on duty until the boat arrived in New York?
I was until she docked at the dock, and then I went out on the deck.
Then you were on duty at 8 p.m. that night.
Well, I do not know whether I was on duty at 8:12. I do not remember. Bride had the phones right up to docking and right after docking.
And what time did Bride have the phones?
Bride had the phones while I was having my dinner.
And what time did you have dinner that night?
It was about 7, I should say. 7 to half past.
After dinner, did you go up to your station?
No, sir. I was in the station. I had my dinner in the station. Bride had the phones all the time after that.
Bride had the telephones sometime.
Up to docking. From my dinner time up to docking.
Oh, from the time you went to dinner.
I had it in the room, in the operating room.
You had your dinner in your room.
Yes.
And your room adjoins the apparatus.
In the operating room.
Both rooms are practically together.
They are all one room.
And you enter from the operating room into your room.
It's all one room.
Without going out on deck.
Yes.
You went to your dinner a little after 7.
Yes.
And you took your dinner about 20 minutes after 7.
It would be sometime around there. I can't quite remember the time.
From the time you took your dinner, or say for any period during 2 hours prior to the landing of the ship, did you have the telephones?
No, sir. From my dinner time, I did not have the telephones until we docked.
And you did not take any message?
No.
Bride was at the instrument or had the apparatus?
Yes.
And he took the messages?
Yes.
Do you know of his taking a message to this effect? 8:12 p.m., Seagate to Carpathia. Say, old man, Marconi Company taking good care of you. Keep your mouth shut and hold your story. It is fixed for you, so you will get big money. Now please do your best to clear. Did you hear anything like that?
Yes, sir. I saw something like that. Bride took it, though.
A Bride took it, and you talked with him about it?
Yes.
Do you recall this message? Marconi to operators, Carpathia and Titanic, 8:30 p.m. Arranged for your exclusive story for dollars in 4 figures. Mr. Marconi agreeing. Say nothing until you see me. J.M. Sammis. Where are you now? OPRC. Do you remember that?
The first one, I do not remember. I never saw or heard anything about it.
But the second one, the 8:30 one, which refers to 4 figures, you do remember.
Something about it, yes.
And what do you remember about it?
I remember Bride mentioning something about it.
And what did he say to you?
I do not just remember. I just believe he read the message out.
And what was said?
I do not remember, sir.
What did you say?
Well, I should imagine I acknowledged it. I do not know what I did further.
Mr. Franklin, do you remember what time the Carpathia docked?
At 9:30.
Okay. Mr. Cottam, you talked that over with Mr. Bride?
I do not remember talking it over. I just acknowledged it.
You were not at the apparatus?
No, sir. I was only in the room for about 2 minutes.
You acknowledged it to Mr. Bride?
Yes.
And did not attempt to reply to it?
No, sir.
By wireless?
No, sir.
You cannot recall what Bride said to you or what you said to him about it?
No, sir. I had a message from the company asking me to meet Mr. Marconi in the Strand Hotel, and I was preparing to get ashore as she touched, sir.
But you got that information, and then you got another message a little later.
I do not know which came first.
I will read this one to you. This is dated 9 p.m. from Seagate to Carpathia operator. Go to Strand Hotel, 502 West 14th Street, to meet Mr. Marconi. Did you get that message? It was signed C.
Yes.
And you arranged to do that?
Yes, sir.
All this was within about an hour of your docking, was it not?
It was within less than that. We were getting into the dock when the message came.
I will read this. The time is 9:33 p.m. from Seagate to Carpathia. Personal to operator Carpathia. Meet Mr. Marconi and Samus at Strand Hotel, 502 West 14th Street. Keep your mouth shut, Marconi. Did you get that telegram?
I do not remember which it was, sir. Apparently you have two there?
I have two, yes.
I do not know which one it was.
Did you get one signed, Mr. Marconi?
I do not remember. Bride was writing it down, and I looked over as he was taking it.
Did he write down Mr. Marconi?
I do not remember, sir.
Did he write down Samus?
I did not remember, sir.
Do you know the telegram came from Mr. Samus?
I do not remember anything about it. I remember the message. I was running about the ship at the time.
Did you keep your mouth shut in accordance with that injunction?
Certainly.
And said not talk to anybody?
No, sir. Not during all the voyage from the catastrophe up to the time of arriving in New York. I did not say anything.
And you did not send out a great deal, did you?
No, I sent out nothing.
Frequent requests were made for details, were they not?
Yes.
But you sent out nothing?
No.
Why?
Because I had the passengers' messages and official traffic to get off before I could provide newspapers with news. That was not the most important thing to do.
Exactly. And I do not want you to infer that I think it was.
The captain told me to ignore all stations other than those I was in communication with and could benefit by.
And you say you had messages from passengers?
Yes.
And for passengers?
For passengers, I had a few, yes.
Were you in communication with Cape Race Station?
No, sir.
Were you in communication with any shore station?
Yes.
With what station?
Sagaponack, Siaskinet, and Seagate. I had 5 for Sable Island, and when I offered him about $250, he ignored me altogether.
250 what?
250 messages.
You were unable to work them off through other stations?
I was in touch with no other station. Sable Island is a long way out to sea.
When you left the Carpathia, did you go to the Strand Hotel?
Yes, sir.
And whom did you meet there?
I met nobody.
Oh, did you meet Mr. Samus?
No.
Or Mr. Marconi?
No.
But you reported there and found no one?
Yes, sir.
And then what did you do?
Well, I walked about and waited.
And how long did you wait?
An hour or an hour and a half.
Did you see anybody? Did you see either of these men or any other officer of the Marconi Company?
No, sir.
Did you say anything to anybody about your story?
No, sir.
Were you alone?
Yes, sir.
Where did you leave Bride? On board the ship?
Yes, he was lying in the cabin. He was trying to get some of the other passengers' messages off, but it was not much good getting them off after the ship had docked.
But he continued to try.
He continued to try to attend to official traffic.
Mr. Cottam, you sold your story about this disaster to the New York Times?
Yes, sir.
When did they print it?
I do not know, sir. About midnight, I should think.
On what night?
On the night of docking, Thursday night.
With whom were these negotiations held?
With one of the New York Times reporters.
What did he say to you?
He told me I had permission to relate my story to the Times.
Did he tell you what he would give you for it?
No, sir.
What did he give you for it?
I have not got anything for it yet.
You have received nothing?
No.
Has anybody received anything for that story?
Not to my knowledge.
Have you been told you would receive anything?
I expect something, but I don't know what.
You made no contract with him?
No, sir.
And no figures were mentioned?
Oh, figures were mentioned.
What figures?
The figures in the message.
That said 4 figures?
Yes.
How many did they mention?
4.
Not 4 knots. What was the figure?
I beg your pardon?
What was the figure?
I do not know. I don't know what figures were. 4 figures.
In this conversation, was any amount stated?
No, sir.
Either by him or by you?
No, sir.
Did you tell him what he wanted?
No, sir.
Did he tell you what he was going to give you in payment?
No, sir.
You just relied upon his generosity?
Yes.
And upon this telegram that you received.
Yes.
The telegram from Mr. Sammis.
Yes.
Do you know whether Mr. Sammis received any money from this paper?
No, sir.
Have you seen Mr. Sammis since that night?
I did not see him that night.
Have you seen him since you docked?
Yes.
Where?
At the inquiry in New York, at the Waldorf.
Did you see him at any other place?
No, I do not remember. I may have met him on the street.
Did you go to the Marconi offices?
Yes, I went there one afternoon.
In New York?
Yes.
And whom did you see there?
One of the clerks.
Nobody else?
No, sir.
Have you a report of that story that you gave to the New York Times?
No, sir.
Have you ever had one?
No, sir.
Did you ever see it?
I saw it in the paper.
When?
The following morning.
Friday morning?
Yes, sir.
But you have not a copy of that.
I may have a copy somewhere. It may be in New York. I do believe I have a copy somewhere, but I do not know where it is exactly.
How much of a story was it?
I gave them only a short story. I gave them brief notes, and the brief notes were copied out.
Do you know how much Bride got?
No.
He has not told you?
No.
Where did they see Bride, if you know? They must have seen him at the boat.
Yeah, they must have seen him on the ship, yes.
And you were not present when he gave his story?
No, sir.
And you do not know how much he got for it?
No.
Do you know that he got anything for it?
I do not know anything about it.
Have you heard that he got anything for it?
No, sir.
And you have had no talk with him about it?
No, sir.
I notice in the wireless messages that are sent and received, the term old man is often used.
Yes.
Is that a cipher or a code term, or is it a term of friendly endearment, or what is it?
It's a term of friendly endearment.
As recognized among the wireless boys?
Among all the wireless fellows.
And it is used as a pleasantry?
Yes.
Did you telephone Mr. Marconi for permission to give out this story?
Yes.
And did you receive his consent?
Yes.
And you talked with him personally?
On the phone. First question, are you wearing your coat? Did you take it off?
What the heck? And then you put it back on, right?
Yeah, and then when you went back out to the bridge, did you have your coat on or off?
Why does he care what people are wearing?
It's so funny.
It's bizarre. Oh, my poor head.
I don't know where, I don't know what that has to do with it.
But he asks every single person, what were you wearing? Oh, you put that on?
I can understand the time, even though he really hounds about it when obviously people, if you don't know, you don't know. It's not going to come back to you.
What color was the jacket?
But it's interesting that he had to help Bride send so many messages because Bride couldn't see because of the steam.
Yeah, I don't think that he couldn't read the signals because of the...
Or, sorry.
I thought it was that he couldn't hear because of the steam.
Okay, sorry.
But
whatever
either way...
it was, but yeah.
Either way,
I was like, and he's still sitting there trying to...
Wasn't Captain
Bride.
Move.
Yep, good old Bride.
Man, yeah, he deserves some compensation from the people. And Mount Temple with just, good night. I'm not talking. Nobody's talking to me, but, was he just telling them to ease up, quit talking?
Yeah,
or,
I don't know. Or is that like a protocol thing? I'm not sure.
Because that's the only conversation we had.
And that's the only reason they're in this conversation at all.
The only communication was that he gave me a good night.
Night.
So.
See ya.
And aha. Oh! The president was signed commander.
There we go.
That's
so
why we didn't know.
So we're finally, there was a message.
Man, that took a long time to get there.
Sheesh.
Okay.
I hope it was reported back.
I hope we closed that door.
Yeah.
We stopped with the whole president thing. Jeez, glad that was taken care of.
But at least they did answer.
Yes.
All right, Senator Smith, come on. Were you resting?
Oh, rude, right? How did you pass your time? Did the heavy work continue?
Oh, I'm in the middle of this great book.
Did you rest?
So it was okay.
What did
They've been working tirelessly. Days on end. And Bride is helping him with, no feet. And they're both...
Because he, quote, fell asleep at the job.
Yeah. After being up for days and days.
Oh my
and
God.
They're trying, like you said, 250 messages. The one
rude.
station was just like, no. We don't want them.
Did not hear. Bye.
How many? Nope. Sorry. Static. You're breaking up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that.
Rude.
Senator Smith.
I was a little embarrassed for him.
And then again, okay, Strand Hotel.
Yeah.
Pop back up.
Oh, yes.
But how anticlimactic.
Oh, I know.
Just went and no one was there.
I wrote a couple sad faces.
Do you think, though?
I didn't. I just thought he was
I
believe
our boy Cottam, and I don't think he's done anything wrong. But he gets really tight-lipped about the money.
Well, yeah, because...
What'd they say? Oh, 4 figures.
You can tell.
Well, there was discussion about the money.
Yeah, I like that whole, what a number?
4.
I was like, yeah.
That's the only thing that made me a little bit... He seems to clam up when it gets into some details.
Yeah, we talked about it. I don't know, I just looked over when it was writing
I just saw it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I do feel like a message that odd and with the keep your mouth shut, like the...
Oh, and he said, did you keep your mouth shut? Certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't remember anything, but...
And I know they were busy, and they're at their wits' end, but I do think
and that we didn't talk about money per se, and I didn't give him a lot of information.
But that he went and no one was there.
And the reporter just showed up and said, you're allowed to talk to me.
Yeah, you have permission.
Yeah, and then nobody...
But, I mean, they be lying.
Oh, shoo. Well, I hope somebody was there, because that is so sad.
Yeah,
that he was there for hours.
And he thought it was, his duty. And also, he's been up this whole time.
And
then they just stopped.
He said he waited an hour and a half.
Yeah. He's probably so tired.
Yeah. Oh, well, all his spare time is gone now. Yeah. So,
His time to rest.
Oh, my gosh. That was just
But that
nuts.
was disappointing to have nobody there. I really wanted...
So, you think there might be more to that?
I don't know.
It was just like, my heart broke for him.
Yeah.
And then after all this, I'm finally...
Well, broke for us,
go get some money.
We were going to find out who it was.
Yeah. Oh, so you could be onto something.
I mean, I've seen too many movies, but I wanted it to be Ismay.
We never know. I'm Team Ismay, though, so I'm glad it wasn't.
Yeah, I just wanted to.
And what about do you know if Mr. Samus received any money from the paper? That's intriguing and rude.
Well, yeah, because it seems a little bit too that
where's the money?
Samus is the only other one with like names on these telegraphs besides allegedly Marconi. Who Marconi denies it, which I believe because it is not his phraseology as he said.
It is certainly not. He's got stuff to do.
And I like that Senator Smith had to inject when Cottam says that I was doing the official traffic and messages that newspapers, I wasn't about to provide them with news first. I had my job to do, and the newspaper wasn't the most important thing. And Senator Smith's like, oh, I do not want you to infer that I think it was.
Oh, that's not what I'm saying.
After just going on and on with Marconi
I want you to say
it. Yeah, exactly. But it should be interesting. I'm interested to see how this one ends and if it stirs up the recalling of anybody else.
Well,
we need to hear from
go,
Samus, I think.
I think so. But before we go, I did want to say my most favorite part of the whole interview was when Senator Smith said, well, suppose she docked at 9:40, where would you be if at 9 o'clock? Well, I would be on the ship. That was so it made me chuckle.
Yeah. You silly Billy.
Okay. All right,
looking forward to see how this one wraps up.
Yeah, we have a little wrap-up coming, so until then.
All right, bye. As always, thank you for listening. Please be sure to let us know what you're thinking in the comments or at titanictranscripts@gmail.com. Also, be sure to check out our Facebook page, Titanic Transcripts, for more interesting tidbits and general discussion.